Hi and welcome to PlayStation Plus One. Today we are playing an actual playthrough with commentary from me, and we're going to be playing through the arcade mode of Gundam vs Extreme, or its official name, Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus. This is a PlayStation 3 port of the arcade hit in Japan. It was released originally back in 2011. Since then there's been various kind of updates to the arcade version of the game, and they've more recently launched a quasi-sequel called Full Boost, apologies. So let's delve into that, and what I really want to do is not just talk about the game but actually talk about Gundam in general, because I'm a fairly big Gundam fan. And I figured this is the best way of kind of talking about Gundam without having to watch, say, a particular Gundam show and do commentary for that. So let's do this. So what you can do in this game is you can choose from various different mobile suits, mechas, Gundams from the various different Gundam series. So back to the original Gundam, Kido Senshi Gundam, the RX-79, which I think is this one here. You've got various different Gundams from their series, so Zeta, Double Zeta, F91, G Gundam, Gundam Wing, which is probably the more popular of the Gundam series, up until Gundam Seed, Seed Destiny, and more recently the Double O's and Unicorn Gundam. As of the time of that release, this was probably the most recent of the Gundam series. So I'm gonna go for the Strike Gundam, and that's from the Gundam Seed series. So Gundam, ikimasu. Now the way how the arcade mode works is that you choose the scene select here, but basically you get to choose your route, so you don't have to kind of always choose the one that's right there. You typically have two levels to choose from, and you kind of get additional levels when you meet certain requirements on those levels. So you'll see a couple of them have got EX next to them, so you can play those ones. And I've not actually gone through all of them, and I'm sure there's an achievement or trophy attached to one of these, where you have to complete everything and maybe get a gold or unlock all of the levels. So let's just keep it easy, let's keep it simple, let's do the first 1A. And because I chose a Gundam from Gundam Seed, you see like a mini cutscene here just summarising that series. So Gundam Seed kind of acted as like a quasi remake to the original Gundam. It had a lot of the same elements. I think instead of the new type idea, I think it changed it to they had the story of the coordinators who were, I think, the Z.A.F.T, who were obviously that's kind of a variant of the Zeon faction from the original Gundam series. But then you had kind of like those unique individuals who would have special abilities, and I think that was what they're kind of the Seed Burst mode. And that obviously represented in this game is when you click down the R3 button, regardless of what of the mecha suit that you've chosen, you'll kind of get like a hyper mode or a burst mode. And for the Seed characters, I think it's the Seed Burst. So we're facing off here against the original Gundam RX-79. Blocking my attacks though, so I'm just going in. Nice.
誰が自分だけのために戦うもんか。すごい。これが本当の戦争。
So let's choose this one.
僕には守りたい人たちが友達がいるんだ
So I think this is also from Gundam Seed because I remember seeing that mecha from the show. Those kind of dog type animal based mecha. Although that's a mixture because that's just a straight up tank there. Now what I just did there was with the Strike Gundam you can actually transform and change your weapons mid-game. So in the other games there was a seed version of this game, and actually what you could do is you would choose your mecha suit. So you would choose I think it was the Aerial Strike Gundam, and that was the one that I had originally, which is this one. And that would just be its own mobile suit. But for this version of the game, for the Gundam vs Extreme, they wanted to kind of just compact the amount of Gundams that you can choose from. So you can actually transform your Aerial Strike Gundam to either the mode with this kind of the sword thing, and that's more for close combat. As you can see, you've got a better attack. You've got different weapons, but obviously with the booster, you've got a better boost. Obviously with the aerial strike, and I think there's another formation with the Gundam with the massive cannon, and so you can also change to that.
戻ったら OS の再挑戦をしなくっちゃ
Okay, so we're against one of the characters from 00. I'm actually not too familiar with Gundam 00 because I've never seen it. I think I may have seen one episode, the first episode, and I'm not sure if I even got through that. And it wasn't that I didn't like it. I mean, I like the five Gundam team structure because I guess I got into Gundam through Gundam Wing, like most people did, especially in the UK. That's really our only kind of entry into Gundam. It's only really been Gundam Wing. So, and that was back in the 2001, 2000 days of Cartoon Network, and we also had Toonami, like I think most of the West did. So, the way I got into Gundam was through Gundam Wing, which I think was fine. It's got its issues, but it's still a fun show. But then I kind of went back and then watched the original Gundam trilogy and some of the other side stories. Like Stardust Memory, Char's Counterattack, and such. So, one of my favourite shows is actually a show that I bought. I can't remember the name of it. Also, I think it came out around 1995, 1994. Wasn't far in terms of its date from Gundam Wing, but it was set in the 0079 universe, the Universal Century. Oh, I lost that one. I was talking too much about Gundam, but it was based in the 0079. I want to say Gundam side story, but I don't think that's right. The 8th MS team. That's who it was. That's one of my favourite Gundams. So. It's more of a realistic Gundam show, I think. It's probably the most realistic of Gundam you'll ever get. It's really more about the characters, and it's actually more like Patlabor, where the mecha is there to help progress the story, but the story isn't really about the mecha. And actually this is the music from the 8th MST.
本当に戦場？静かだ。俺の意志で紛争根絶のために戦う。
But it's now changed to Gundam 00.
連合！僕がやらなきゃどうしようもないじゃないか。
Now that I think about it, I think YouTube's going to have a heart attack with all these various different soundtracks, because I know how protective the Japanese are with their licensed music, so good luck from Gundam there.
もう僕たちを放っておいてくれ。 GL だがすごい。はっ当たれ。うわ
No, he took me down.
どうにか敵の足を止めないと。
Take the RX out, and then we're going to take out the 00.
俺がガンダムだ。止めた。
That.
GL だが
This is
しかなかったんだ。俺のガンダムが今日は守ることができた。
only just won that one.
僕には守りたい人たちが友達がいるんだ。この当たれ。甘い。いけ。あれいけ。ありがとうございました。もらった。僕がやらなきゃどうしようもないじゃないか。もらった。当たれ。甘い。当たれ。ここは僕がやらなきゃ。もらった。もらった。甘い。当たれ。気持ちだけで落ちてしまう。くそ、どうにか敵の足を止めないと。いっけー。ここでやられてたまるか。当たれ。
Now this Gundam that I'm facing right now, from After War Gundam, I think, is that correct? After War Gundam X, I'm almost certain. Again, that was I think that show came out after Gundam Wing. So I've never seen it, but it's definitely something that I think I want to really, at some point, watch. Because I've seen a couple of stills from the show. And the art style looks quite good. It looks quite... I think the story, from what I've heard, is, you know, fairly kind of standard Gundam, but I mean, I'm a big fan of kind of the mecha designs, and that Gundam that I was just facing there seemed very reminiscent to the Epion Gundam from Gundam Wing, which is probably one of my favourite Gundams. That, between that and maybe, and definitely, not maybe, definitely, Wing Gundam 0 Custom from Endless Waltz, which is also playable in this game, so we'll probably come across that at some point. Now this level looks like it's from G Gundam, and again, I've never seen G Gundam. One of these days I will pick it up. Crazy disposable income, but yeah, I think because it just looks so outlandish, it's probably it has to only be from G Gundam, which is, I think back in the day, was kind of hated upon as being this not fake Gundam show, because it was more like a super robot show as opposed to a kind of a real robot show, similar to something like Mazinkaiser or something.
僕がやっつける。いけ。もらった。ありがとうございます。
I think people now are starting to say that G Gundam's good. I can't comment.
こんなところまでのこのこと。当たれ。冗談じゃない。いけ。
Now I think my comrade on this is actually the Freedom Gundam from Gundam Seed. So that's quite powerful.
それ以上の無礼はやめ。
Quite powerful mecha.
何が当たったの。いけ。いけ。もう下がれ。君たちの負けだ。
And what's good about the burst mode is actually if you're being attacked by your opponent, and unfortunately it didn't work for me there, and you can't get out of their attack, if you switch on the burst mode, that stops their juggling basically. So that's actually quite handy too.
いっそ負けてしまえばよかった。
Nearly there. So at this point you face like a mini boss. I would guess that that's another 00 Gundam or enemy boss. I mean, I don't recognize it at all. First time I saw it was in this game, so. One thing I do remember though is when I was watching the Gundam Seed series was how you know there's kind of a couple of staples that feature in every Gundam series, especially after the purchase, the Sunrise. And that, you know, you've got the staple of someone in a helmet, you know, reminiscent to Char, or I guess Zex Marquise, or the other character from the main villain in Seed Destiny. The other staple is the Zaku, and I didn't actually really realise that until I remember online people were making a big fuss about Gundam Seed and it not actually having the Zaku, and actually I think the Zaku only was introduced in the sequel series, the sequel terrible series that was Seed Destiny. So I think that's a little bit of trivia. It might be just internet nonsense, but I can't ever remember seeing the original Zaku in the original Seed series, so it could be true. You probably don't appreciate half truths, but I would have researched it before, but I'm just kind of talking about what I know as I see it. Down. Big attack. An ultimate scene here just before the end. So we've got I think that's the Justice Gundam again from Gundam Suit. As is this BGM. Actually, this is from Seed Destiny. I never actually watched Seed Destiny as a series. I watched the compilation because I heard how bad it was. And despite that, I still wanted to see the show and watched that. And I think that it was an easier watch, despite it being, I think, 3 or 4 2-hour long films. But obviously that way you kind of skip a lot of that filler type, very cheap cut and paste bits of the Gundam shows. Now with this one I've just got a target, which is the Seed Destiny, which was obviously supposed to be, if Gundam Seed was supposed to be the quasi remake of the original Gundam, then Seed Destiny was supposed to be the quasi remake of Zeta Gundam. And Zeta Gundam, for those who haven't watched it, is kind of introduced the transforming Gundam, with Camille Bidan, the main pilot, a very reckless Gundam pilot, very similar to Shin Asuka in Seed Destiny, but unfortunately it doesn't really have the crazy moments of Zeta Gundam, Seed Destiny. So I think it kind of failed in its remakes, whereas I think Seed did a really good job of kind of retelling the original Gundam story for a new audience, some really great mecha designs, some really interesting characters, especially for those who, because I understand there's some people who don't like watching older shows, they're put off by it for some reason. I'll never understand that, but so be it. So we're at the final stage, and actually what you end up facing is a not fake Gundam, but a Gundam I think that's been created specifically for this game.
So it's a
Gundam in a mecha suit. Now this track is actually an original track for the game, and it's actually one of my favourite pieces of music in recent memory. There's another track also in the mission mode that I'll do a mission mode walkthrough at some point, or playthrough, so you can hear that. But I'm going to shut up so you can hear this track.